The Supreme Court is hearing arguments today in a case that could completely reshape the internet.
Gonzalez versus Google addresses whether or not tech companies should be held legally liable for harmful content that their algorithms promote on their platforms. People waited in line outside of the Supreme Court earlier today to hear the arguments in this case. It stems from the November 2015 terror attack in Paris, when Islamic State extremists carried out a series of coordinated shootings and bombings across the city. 23-year-old California college student Noemi Gonzalez was one of 130 people killed in that attack. Her family contends that YouTube, a subsidiary of Google, acted as a recruiting platform for ISIS by recommending content related to the terrorist group in violation of U.S. laws.
Joining us now is Jaime Puerta. His son, Daniel, died of fentanyl poisoning in 2020 when he was just 16 years old. Puerta is one of many parents who are currently suing Snapchat. Jaime, whenever I think of Section 230, I remember the story you told me. Of course, we covered your story last year. But specifically, why this law, why this is so important for you. Can you, for our audience who's not aware of your story, tell us why this Supreme Court case is so meaningful to you?
Thank you. It is very meaningful because the way I look at it and the way most parents look at it is, if it's illegal in the real world, it should be illegal as well in the internet world. What we have is drug traffickers and micro traffickers selling drugs, illegal drugs, illicit fentanyl to our children, and they're getting away with it due to the features that Snapchat has on its application. One thing that makes it so attracting to these drug dealers is the disappearing messages that Snapchat has as their application. Not only that, but the gamification of the app in and of itself, where it gives the more they use the app, the more points they get. Also, there is absolutely no way of really truly seeing what the age of a person is who uses Snapchat, though they do advertise to kids and they say they have to be 13 years old or older to use the app. There's no way for them to verify the ages of these children. What we are looking for is, we're not trying to restrict free speech. What we are looking for is the fact that the product has a flaw. The design of the application has a flaw, and it's being used by nefarious actors in all sorts of fields, as far as sexual exploitation of children. We're talking about pedophiles using this because they can reach the kids as well. And we're talking about drug dealers reaching out to our children, selling them illicit drugs like fentanyl to our children. So it has to change, and it has to change right now. I would recommend that they should have a duty of care provision inserted into Section 230C. You know, a duty of care would hold these applications responsible for the people who use these apps to keep them safe from all nefarious activities and harms.
Snapchat has said in the past that this is important for free speech and that they are doing what they can to stop nefarious actions from taking place on their app. But what else would you like to see companies like Snapchat and others do?
Oh, that's an excellent question. You know, they say that they're doing all of these changes to their platform to making it safer for children. But if that were true, then why are they not verifying the ages of these children who are going on there? When Section 230C was written back in 1996, nowhere had our lawmakers could have foreseen where the internet would be today. And children are going to be children. And I believe that Snapchat is taking advantage of that. I would like for parents to be able to see what their parents are, I would like for parents to see what their children are doing on apps like Snapchat. Now, they say that they have a parental monitoring system on there, yet it's not a very good tool, because it doesn't show who your child is communicating with, what content of that conversation is with, or who they're talking to, or what the content of their conversation is. So again, it's all product design, especially the fact that they have that disappearing feature where all the conversations disappear. Why do they have that? That The only thing that does is it invites nefarious actors to use their app. In other words, if you are sending improper photos, if a 42-year-old man is sending pictures to 11, 12-year-old daughter, exposing himself, those pictures will disappear within the app. If a drug dealer is trying to sell drugs to your child, the conversation that your child is having with that drug dealer also disappears. That's why there's a product design failure completely across the board with Snapchat. We want them to have free speech, but not at the backs of the dead children. It's just, it's horrific to even think about, and they need to change, and they need to change very quickly.
And Jaime, you're not the only parent that I've heard from who has suffered the ultimate loss and supports the changing of Section 230. There are parents who are fighting because their children were fed material that would cause self-harm, that would cause eating disorders on other apps like TikTok. If the Supreme Court rules in favor of the Gonzalez family, specifically, what do you hope is the first change we see in the internet?
Well, at least get our cases on the steps of the courthouse. As it is right now, Section 230C shields all of these internet platforms and all of these social media applications. There's no way that we can get our peers to listen to the case and the harm that has been caused to our children. Again, sexual exploitation. You have nefarious actors selling drugs to unwitting children who think are buying prescription pills, whether because they want to self-medicate either due to emotional trauma or physical trauma, and what they're getting instead are fentanyl pills. They're using the platform to deal drugs to these kids. They're using the platform to sending horrific pictures of themselves to young girls and young boys. There's all sorts of nefarious activity that's happening, and all we want it to stop. If this case were to be accepted, at least we would have the opportunity for our peers to hear our cases and let them be the judge if the platform in and of itself was acting in a way that is contrary to law.
Yeah. Jaime Puerta, thank you so much for so much insight and for staying in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lilia. Thank you so much, Lana. I appreciate you.
And we should mention that in response to the lawsuit, Snapchat says it does not comment on existing litigation, but added that it is using cutting-edge technology to try to keep drug dealers from using its app. It also said it's openly working with law enforcement.